Today, one of these lucky contestants will win his or her weight in fish right here on Wheel of Fish. Let's see what's in the box. Nothing! Absolutely nothing! Stupid! You're so stupid!
This is the Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top four and nothing more. Kirk, we are in October.
October.
Kicking along. We are excited about just talking all things TV this month. It has been a blast so far. And we thought today we would get a little bit competitive. Kirk, are you competitive?
Yeah, man, I'm super competitive. Love sports, love just competition, coach my kids, played ball, did all that. Love video games. We've talked about that. I love everything about just, competition and competing with other people. I mean, if you've ever been in my house for a family dinner, you know, volleyball gets serious, kickball gets serious, chess gets serious, the board games, we're flipping Monopoly. Yeah, competitions are where it's at.
Yeah, and TV is a perfect place to put the competition on display. There are so many shows that are based around competition and so many different genres that there's competing that's happening in it. And it's entertainment. It's great fun. So we decided today we're going to just talk about that. We're going to talk about our Rushmore of competition TV shows. Now, before we do that real quick, I just want to get, because we were kind of talking about like what's the delineation between a game show and a competition show, because way back, if you go way back, one of our original episodes, we did talk about game shows. So Kirk, I know we were talking earlier, you actually had a definition, some actual proof of like what makes it a competition show as opposed to...
So, yeah, I don't know who came up with this. I went to the old Google, maybe Wiki or one of those fantastic websites. And I was worried because, you know, we originally started, we were going to do reality TV. And I'm like, I don't really like a whole lot of reality TV. Then you were wanting to do maybe cooking shows. And I'm like, I like cooking shows. I just don't like all of them. And then I was like, how can we marry some of these things? We're like, hey, what about competition? And then going through my criteria, I realized all four of my game shows were probably reality competition shows. Because here's the definition. If you're ready, this is what you're waiting for. Competition-based reality show typically feature gradual elimination of participants, either by a panel of judges or by viewership on the show. So like, you know, the people phone in or whatever, and or by the contestants themselves. So they're like, you know, knocking each other off. And, you know, so what it seems to me is something that lasts a little longer than one episode, something that has quite a few weeks where, you know, 15 people on the show. Then next week it's 14. Next week it's 12. We eliminate 2 1 week, one this, and we get down to that final winner. And so that's kind of where I think we're going. And again, looking back at my 4 before, which I think they're all game shows. My game shows were already taken. So I'm not putting any of those in this one because I'm going with a whole new list on just the basis of this.
Well, nice.
And yeah. And so there you go.
So, hey, look, let's go ahead and get into the meat of this show. Let's get competitive. Let's give our Rushmore of competition TV shows.
Well, you're going down. You're going down.
Not happening. All right, Kirk, here it is. We are getting ready for our Rushmores. But look, we always like to bring our friends along, right? What competition between 2 people is great, but when we got 3 people, it just makes it even more fun. So Kirk,
let's go. Who's getting eliminated off the show?
Who are we bringing in to the Rushmore community today? Well, he's been in the Rushmore community. Who are we bringing on the show today?
I think this is another 3-time champ, or is this a 4-time? Is this our first 4-time? No, it's 3
No,
times.
Third time.
Third time participant. Our good friend. I met him through you. He's now a great friend. I think he came on a video game show with us, and he also probably came on a movie one with us.
We're going to welcome back Paul Teegarden. What's up, Paul?
What's going on,
man?
guys?
What's up, Paul?
No costumes.
How y'all doing?
So if you guys remember, he was rocking the Link costume before, and you know he's out of cosplay. He's rocking his Braves, hoping they can be competitive this fall. You know, defending champs. Can they do a two-time? I'm kind of hoping, Paul. I'm kind of praying that we have a revisit of 1996.
I would love that.
Not 95. 96, where the Yankees win over the Braves. That's what I'm pulling for.
90. No, that's gross. That's disgusting. You live in Atlanta and you're a Yankees fan.
And I've been to 3 games. One was against the Phillies and 2 were against the Yankees. So there you go.
Well, there we go. We're already getting competitive.
Paul.
I like it.
Paul, so man, you've been on the show before. We kind of talked previously about what we're doing. Thanks for coming back and being one of those full-time guests. But man, what were you thinking as a competition? Do you agree with our definition? Did you hear the definition?
Yeah, before I even heard the definition, that's kind of the basis that I was going on. It's just, to me, my criteria is going to be, it's not just a single episode, so it's like a season-long competition. So the guests are getting voted off periodically. Kind of has a reality aspect to it in one way or another. And that's pretty much it. It's just it's simple.
There you go. So
it's simple.
It's pretty simple. So what were you thinking on your Rosie? Start us off, number 4, kick this show off.
All right, Rosie, my number 4, I'm going with The Masked Singer.
Nice.
Probably the newest one all of my 4 here. But I really, it's something like me and my wife and even my 2 young daughters, we can all watch together. It's really fun to try and sit there and guess who you think is the one behind the mask. You know, spoilers, season 1, season 2, like both of them, I thought I was dead on with who was the winner, and both times I was wrong. It's T-Pain and Wayne Brady. But
T-Pain was insane, man. I didn't know he could sing.
The dude's got pipes.
That's crazy.
He's got pipes.
Why is
and Wayne Brady, he was dressed up as like a fox, and maybe it was just there to mind mess with me, but I thought that was Jamie Foxx all day, every day. He just moved like him, sounded like him. But that's Wayne Brady for you. So that's my Rosie. You know, it's just it's a real fun show to watch, and you get to hear a lot of good singers, and then also you get some people on there like Gronk and Lil Wayne.
Yeah,
we're just there for fun. What y'all think?
I love that show. I'm so glad you picked it. So 2 things about that show. Number 1. When it first came out, or like there was commercials about it, I think it's on Fox, right? So I remember seeing like after the game, The Masked Singer, and I was like, that sounds like such a stupid show. I'm never going to watch that. And then like 8 episodes in, before I realized, I'm like, this is so good. Why am I sticking with this? It was so good. It's fun for the family, kind of like you said, you know, having kids, it's just a good one. You don't really have to worry about what you're watching there. It's fun entertainment.
Yeah.
Number 2, and Kirk, I want to ask you, because I didn't even think about this, but you've told people you love the deduction and figuring things out. Have you watched this show? And it's like they put the little promo before and they drop little hints of who it could be. That seems like it's right up your alley.
So, yeah, I've seen this show. I have not watched this show. I'll just go there. I have watched, like, kind of like you, it came on after a game or something, heard Masked Singer. I'm not really into, my wife loves the singing, the dancing, and all of those type shows, right? If it's singing, dancing, or any of that, I'll watch them with her. And historically, I only like the beginning parts of those shows where they're like, they're like trying out for the show, once the show starts, I'm like, yeah, I'm not really into all this after that. I want to see people like get dogged and whatever. But so when that show came out, I didn't really understand the premise, so I didn't really watch it in the beginning. And then when I watched, I was like 6 or so episodes in, and I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. And that weird voice comes in. He's like, I drive planes for a living, and then and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then they eliminated somebody, and I was just so confused. And I kind of mentally noted it and said, let's see how this show does. If it does well, I'll go back and watch. And I never really have gone back and watched. I've seen episodes like that. I picked them up. I love the costumes. Dude, some of those costumes are just wild. And I have seen a few people get eliminated. And it seems like every time I watch, an athlete's getting eliminated. I think was it like some football player, Emmitt Smith, maybe? Who was there a running back on there? Gosh, Jerry Rice. I don't know, but yeah, a couple times I've seen it. It seems like it's always an athlete getting eliminated. So no, I really haven't watched this show that much. I know it has a great calling, and I don't think it's a terrible show. It's just not something I've jumped into yet.
Nice, yeah. So hey, that's a good pick. I like Masked Singer. Are you coming in strong? I was kind of hoping you'd wear a mask and unveil who you are. That's what we need to do from now on when we have a guest. Have them wear a mask and then unveil.
Dude, we could be like Lee Corso.
There he is. Look at Paul. There it is. He kind of looks like Green Arrow or whatever. Anyway.
Kind of looks like
I'll take it.
I'll
take that.
All right, good pick. Kirk, we're gonna go to you next.
Well,
your criteria. You said the definition, but what's your criteria?
So yeah, here's the thing. I'm going with longevity of at least a year, a season. I'm going with most of these shows. You had to have left your hometown, go somewhere to stay for that complete time. Like I remember when Survivor first came out, right? Like nobody had they were gone for months and you couldn't even talk about it. I want it to be something like that, not something where like, hey, I was on Price is Right yesterday. It's going to air in 3 weeks type thing. So something that you're like on edge. You don't know who's going to win all the way to the end. That's kind of where I'm going. And it really falls in line with kind of the definition. But my first one, if you guys know me, I'm a bit of a craftsman. I love woodworking. I love to build things. I love to do things like that. I really even, any show that comes on where somebody is designing everything out of wood or metal or whatever, I just love them all. But I can only pick one. And I went with a fairly new one. And it's just hilarious because it's got two of our favorite people in it. It's got Amy Poehler and Offerman. I'm going with Making It. Making It was just awesome. It's been 3 seasons, I think, and it ended up getting canceled. But if you know this show, the winner gets like $100K. They go through this, but they bring on like a woodman. They bring on somebody that's like into felt and costuming. They get another person that does like sewing, another person that might do like gardening or whatever. And then they give them 2 different tasks. One task will be like a real quick thing they got to do in a couple hours. And then they'll give them a master craft and where you have to do this. And it might be in your wheelhouse. Like it might be like they've done terrariums. They've built like family heirlooms. They've done like sheds, like redesign a whole shed. And it's just really cool. But having Nick Offerman and Amy Poehler in there kind of voicing it. And if you know anything about Nick Offerman, he is a fantastic woodsman, wood crafter. He actually sells a lot of that stuff online. And because of that show, that's one of the reasons I started like being excited to watch Parks and Rec, to be honest. So I love this show. It's fun. It's lighthearted. It's a great competition. I wish it would have lasted a little longer. But yeah, I'm going with none other than, oh shoot, I didn't even give you guys my picture. So I'm going to go with none other than Making It. And there they are.
There they are. There he is in all his glorious.
And Amy Poehler. There they are. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that. So I watch Parks and Rec. We've said that. We've made that clear. I love it. It's my George of sitcom. I mean, it's great. And I never realized that. I just thought Nick Offerman was acting. Ron Swanson was just good at crafts, and that's what he did. But when I found out that he was a legitimate, like, crafter, what's the term? Whatever. Anyway, guy who makes things with wood. Man's man.
Woodworker.
Man. A wood man. Anyway, it was shocking in one way, but it was really cool to see that.
But he's got some pretty cool, like, shirts and hats for his, like, woodworking business on the side, which is hilarious because he's worth probably 50 mil or something, and he's over there doing woodworking for the just because of it.
I like to hope that he really is like Ron Swanson. You know what I mean? But I know that can't be true. But as long as he does,
Nick Offerman's the character.
Yeah, Nick Offerman
could be that. Yeah,
he just showed up on set one day and they're like filming, and he was just him. So anyway, no, that's a good pick. Have you seen this one, Paul?
I have not seen that one. It does sound interesting. I really enjoy watching people do things and make things with their hands. I mean,
it's cool, like, because, like, he might be a woodworker, but then he has to go and do, like, a costume, or the costumer person might have to go and do, like, some kind of gardening, or the gardener and it just shows all the different skills sets and that design, all those things. I like it. It's a fun show.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. That sounds really up my alley.
Yep. Good pick. Making it. Ron Swanson and Leslie Knope. Hey, look. Nope. And there it is.
Ron Swanson and Leslie Knope. There you go. So that's going to be my Rosie. So where are you going with Rosie?
Okay. So follow me here. Your definition, it's a matter of interpretation, right? Because your definition says gradual elimination, right? So gradual can be in the length of a season. It can be in the length of an episode. They could be eliminated through the episode. So I don't eliminate all of them if they just get eliminated through one single episode, because it still does fall into the parameters of the definition here. And even if it didn't, I don't care, because this is my top 4. It's about my Rushmore, right? So some of these are clearly competition shows. Some of them, maybe they fall into game show, maybe they fall into competition. I don't care. So whatever. Anyway, that's pretty much my criteria was, did I like it? Have I watched it? There you go. Okay. I don't know how much more simple I can get than that. I did originally say, and Kirk, we talked about this, trying to do one show per sort of genre within that genre, right? So, like, in competition shows, there can be the singing ones. There can be the, we've just talked about a singing one and a crafts one, right? Both competition shows, but I tried to pick only one per. Like, if I was going to pick a food one, I was only going to pick one. My problem that wound up happening is I realized I was thinking too hard about it, and I was just pulling other ones out and eliminating ones that really were, in my opinion, better than the one that I was going to put in its place. So I just said, you know what? Forget that criteria. And I'm just going to go from the heart on this one. I'm just going to go from the heart. I'm going to speak from the heart. And that's going to be my criteria. Did I like it? Did I watch it? So my Rosie, my number 4, pretty new show, started in 2020 on Fox, 3 seasons in. And let me tell you this, generally, at least for October, I have strayed away from picking shows that I haven't watched a whole lot of. This show, I've just begun watching, and I've only watched maybe 3-4 episodes, maybe, not very much, but I've just begun, but it's so good that it's got to make my Rosie. This is why it makes there. I feel like if I continue to watch it, it could go up even higher. My number 4, my Rosie, Lego Masters.
I knew it. I knew you were going to go with this show.
So if you watch this, you know that my George of toys was the Legos. I had to put this in there. I love the Lego movies. I love Legos. In fact, tonight, my wife's out of town right now, so Well, my daughters and I spent about an hour putting Legos together tonight. They were already put together. We destroyed them and then put them back together. It's just fun stuff, right? Like I love Legos. I love how methodical you can be with it. But then I watched this show and I'm like, how do they think of this stuff? Like, I watched the first episode of season 3 tonight before filming, just so I can get a little bit updated. I haven't started season 3. And they were building like space shuttles and they were attaching it to a giant Lego space station, and it just crazy stuff, putting motion in, like making their Lego creations have movements and stuff. So basically what it is, if you haven't seen it yet, it's what it sounds like. They have a challenge. This one was spaceships, and they have to create the best one, and the panel votes on which one is the best one. And it's just an amazing show. And to see them do all this stuff, I remember, so I went to it's really cool when they gather it. In the beginning, they have these giant tubs of the color coordinated, which for my OCD helps really well. Like, here's all the purple ones, here's all the blue ones, here's all the green. It's nice. We went to the Lego store in Disney Springs the last time we went there, and it's like that too. So I just always want to go to those tubs where they grab everything from and grab all of the same color piece. But let me stop saying that. I love Legos, Lego Masters. It's hosted by Will Arnett too, so he's really funny. He's a great host for the show. They have people from the Lego family from Denmark and stuff that are part of the panel. It just really, really cool stuff. If you have not watched it yet, I highly suggest go watch it. It's another one you can watch with family because they're putting Legos together, and it's these 2-person teams. Each of them kind of has their own personality and everything and story, and you get to hear a lot of that through it too. So Lego Masters, my Rosie, my number 4 competition shows. Have you guys watched Lego Masters yet?
So yeah, I've watched a few of these with Cannon because he loves Legos, he loves toys. We've watched a few episodes. Haven't watched the full thing. I kind of feel like this is one of those shows that I don't have to watch it from beginning to end, right? But I would like to, because I would like to, follow the story with each one. But I like to see the craftsmanship for each one of those, and just some of the stuff that they come up with is just mind-boggling. I had to eliminate it off of one of my Benjamins, although it was not in my top 4 of my Benjamins. It was a potential if you guys called out one of mine. So I had to eliminate that off. It was definitely something I was looking for in this type of show. And I kind of had a feeling, because you're always talking about Lego. I just didn't know if you watched it yet. So there you go. Yeah,
it's so good. What about you, Paul? You like it?
Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes, and I think it's just awesome how they can do what they do with the Legos. And you talking about Disney Springs. My wife and I went there for our honeymoon, and not Disney Springs, Disney, but we went to Disney Springs and seeing like the sea serpent in the water.
Oh my gosh, so
all
cool.
Of the different statues, the humongous statues out of freaking
Kylo Ren
Legos.
Yeah,
that wasn't there when we were there.
Oh,
but
dude. So
I don't think I saw Kylo Ren, but there was a few others. Yeah,
it's amazing to see what people can do with Legos, and that was gonna be probably my first Benny I would have chosen. So that's gone. So thanks for that.
All right, I'm glad I did not pick your top 4. So I'm picking a worse one. But no, I love the show. I'm still looking for somebody out there, out of our 201 subscribers, knows somebody who can make a Rushmore out of Legos.
Mount Rushmore of Legos.
I'm not that crafty.
My only concern with this is the size of the blocks to get the design for all of those and building that. I don't know that you have enough room in your house for a Mount Rushmore.
This office will turn into a holding space for that specifically.
Oh, maybe a Lego wall Rushmore.
Oh, yeah. Just make this whole wall, but this is not my wall, people. Just so you know,
you would just need like one layer and just like kind of design it like those pixels with the dice and make like a whole picture of like Lego.
I might actually work on that. That's a project that is in the works. I'll see how my wife feels about that. And I'll let you guys know if I'm here.
I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you.
All right, Paul.
All right.
Let's move on to our TJ Jazzy Jeff. What's your number 3?
All right. Tommy John is going to be the Ultimate Fighter.
Nice.
I have watched this show pretty much from the beginning. Season 1 is probably what saved the UFC as a whole, because that the fight between Stephan Bonnar and Forrest Griffin there for the winner or whatever.
Insane.
Probably the best fight I've ever seen in my life. It was so good. It was so good that they awarded both of them contracts and it was only supposed to go to the winner. Like it just, and every season it's really cool. You get a coach who's already an established veteran of the sport, coaching up these young athletes who are just trying to get up in there and into the sport and into the company. And it's just really awesome to watch them work on it, and then awesome to watch them fight, and just something I could never do and I respect humongously. So that's my number 3. That's my TJ.
All right, so I'm going to sound like less of a man right now, but I don't care. And you guys know, Kirk, I have some hot takes, right? In life. I don't like fighting. Boxing, I just don't. Listen, let me say this. I appreciate it, and I never would want to get in the ring, and I know they're athletes, and I'm not knocking that side of it. But there's just nothing that draws me to that. I never say, oh, I want to go watch people hit each other for a sport right now. It's never the draw for me. I don't know. It's just never been for me. I know it's got a huge following. I know you guys are fans. Again, I appreciate their athleticism and everything that they do. I just don't ever watch it. So.
I can respect that. It's more like stand-up human chess to me. Like, and I have kind of a semi-hot take in that I actually am more impressed whenever I watch people grapple and try to outmaneuver each other and put each other in holds. And like a submission to me is more impressive than a knockout, because almost anybody could knock anyone out with the right location on the strike. But
right.
It's just it's this whole thing of athleticism and endurance and training, and then there's this mental side of it that's just as, if not more important, that it just all comes together, and it's just really cool to me.
So Ultimate Fighter was an amazing show. It was the number 1 on my Benjamins. So there goes 2 of my Benjamins in the top 5. I'm in trouble on the Benjamin side, but
you knocked it out.
Yeah, it knocked it out. But look, UFC, man, I've been watching UFC since the early days when there was no rules. Or there was the few rules were no fish hooking, no hitting in the crotch. I mean, they still allowed that, but like you couldn't grab it or whatever. Like,
please never make that hand motion again, Kirk. Not on the Rushmore Show.
PG.
We've immediately gone to a different. We'll have to delete that part. So look, most everything was go right, and I mean, Hoist Gracie when he came in, you talked about grappling, and watching that, and I used to think, why is this guy even in this fight? He's so boring. And he would suffocate a guy to death that could, beat any boxer known to man. I just fell in love with the sport. I watched it. I paid for a lot of the pay-per-views for years and years and years. Whether it was the Liddells or the Ortizes or whatever. And then, I followed Rich Clemente, who's from Slidell. He was actually on the Ultimate Fighter on the revamp show. And I love Ultimate Fighter. You're right. That Griffin Bonnar fight was one. It's probably in my top 5 fights that I've ever seen in any kind of medium in as far as 2 guys sparring each other. And the only reason it didn't make my show is because I took another show that's very similar and picked that one instead. But aside from that, yeah, I love it.
All right. Ultimate Fighter.
Every time I say Ultimate Fighter,
so
now,
you know, I'm not
Ultimate
eliminating
Fighter.
that. I'm not taking that out. That is
Ultimate Fighter.
That's even worse. Okay.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't pick this one as one of my top four is because I picked another fighting show, and that's going to be my TJ Jazzy Jeff. I'm going with none other than The Contender. So I'm not I'm more of a UFC fan than a boxing fan. But this show pulled a lot of emotional strings for me. I watched it. I love the stories of the kids. I love watching the training. It's very similar to The Ultimate Fighter. They took it. I love Sylvester Stallone, like kind of being the host with Sugar Ray Leonard. And man, this is probably one of the first competition shows that I actually probably like cried or got emotional with. They had a big suicide with it. But basically, if you've watched the show, it's basically boxing. Same thing as The Ultimate Fighter, as in MMA, but more of a boxing show. There were 16 young kids kind of in training. They divided them up in teams like The Ultimate Fighter, and then they would have all these different things happen in training. And one guy had to, like, one of the leaders had to pick from each team who was going to fight. And then, like, most of the rest of the show was just that one match. And there were so many good matches in this, watching these young kids just go at it. I love this show. It only had like 3 seasons, I think. Wish it would have had more. And I like The Ultimate Fighter. I think The Ultimate Fighter is much more mainstream than this one was. I just liked how low key it was, Stallone and all the things that went involved, and honestly, just the emotional things that it brought. So I don't know if you guys have seen The Contender, but let me get my picture up for you. That's where I'm going. And have you guys seen this?
I have not watched The Contender, which I don't like boxing or fighting, so I don't think I would have, but when I'm looking at it, it was like 2005. So I'm in high school.
Yeah, it was 5 to like 2009. Yeah. It was around that time.
Yeah, 05. There was a lot that was happening, and
so each guy that won this now won $250,000. Yeah, and that's a big deal for a young fighter, man. So like, get him going and get him ready. One of the guys, I think the last guy that won, or maybe he came in second, was Shane Mosley Jr. And I mean, if everybody knows Shane Mosley, so it was just really cool show, man.
So it says 5 seasons,
right?
It lasted until 2018. Tony Danza did season 4. So hey, there you go.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Hold me closer, Tony Danza. No, I haven't seen it. I have not seen that. Paul, have you watched The Contender or heard of it?
I have not. I'm not. As much as I like the UFC, I'm not a huge boxing fan. Mostly just boxing is only one facet of the whole fighting thing. So I'd rather watch the whole aspect. I mean, like I said before, I like the more grappling submission type of fighting, and that's not in boxing at all. So that's a good pick. It's just not.
I think boxing is a dying sport, honestly, as far because UFC and MMA and Bellator and all the other things have kind of really put it on its heels. But this was just a really good, well done show, in just my opinion. So
speaking of boxing, my parents have told me when I was a young child, I was a boxing champion. No, when I was a young child, we were in the airport at LAX because my family's from Southern California. And I shook Don King's hand as a like, or maybe he held my hand. Was it
like electricity? Did your hair go up?
I don't remember it at all. It's actually why I don't have hair anymore. No, I don't remember it. It's a story. It's a fable. It's a tale that's told, a legend. But it's kind of an interesting fact about me. There you go. I met Don King. So me and Don King are friends. We go way back.
Way back. Nice. So, hey, we are at you, Andy. Do you have something to contend with us?
Yeah. So my TJ Jazzy Jeff, we're going to go to Netflix. Last week we talked about, our binge-worthy shows. And I kind of wish I would have thought about this one. I don't know why this one blanked my mind, because I know I've binged this show before. And but I think maybe I held on to it because I knew competition was coming up. So my TJ Jazzy Jeff, Floor is Lava. I love this show. It is so fun. It takes the concept of the floor is lava that everybody's played, right? Everybody knows the concept. You got to jump on the couches, onto the chairs, onto, the table and all this. You can't touch the ground, but it just makes it come to life. They're in this room, but that has got this liquid underneath it that's all red and bubbling and stuff, and it's supposed to be lava. And every episode the room is a different theme, so it might be the living room, it might be the kitchen, it might be this. And so every episode the obstacles are a little bit different, the things they have to do. The objective is to get all the way through right before the other team does, or get more of your people across out of your team of 3, and how that goes. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I recently saw that there's a new season that's there, which is added now an ending competition where they have to climb up a volcano in a race with the other team, and they have to put pieces there. And it really, for the 90s Nickelodeon kid at heart, just brings me back to Global and the Crag. It just makes me think that so much, and I wanted to put that in here, but I did not. But because Floor is Lava is just so good. It's so fun. It's another one I can watch with my kids. Zoe, my oldest, loves watching the show with me. She binge watches this TV show with me. Again, this came out in 2020. They're in season 3. Rutledge Wood is the host. So if you guys watch Top Gear on History Channel, he's the same guy that was in that too. Just a really cool show, and then every team, you kind of get a little bit of their backstory. Maybe they're siblings, maybe they're coworkers, maybe they're neighbors, whatever it is. It's a team of 3. And it's so funny because sometimes you just are like, oh, why would you try to make that jump? Why don't they do this? And you don't realize that literally everything is slippery and just, you have no grip, and then things move out of nowhere. I just love how some things will just move and they didn't even realize that it would, and then they smack their head. Okay, so here's the other part. I'm unveiling shows that didn't make my list as I do this, but MXC was a great one. Most Extreme Challenge, or Wipeout, same one. MXC was the Japanese dub one, but Wipeout is when they took it to America. The greatest joy in that show was seeing them their back contort in a way that you're like, they broke their back or whatever, but they get up. And the same thing happens in the Floor is Lava. Everything's padded and everything, whatever. But when they fall face first onto this platform and their leg twists over their body, and it's just like, oh man, you just can't stop watching it. So there's something about human pain. Yes, I don't like watching fighting, but I like when the environment fights back against people. I'm cool with that. So I do like a knockout when it comes to Floor is Lava. I don't need submission, but so Floor is Lava, so fun. There's never been an episode where I was like, I just didn't enjoy watching that. It's so fun.
A couple of things about this show. One, I wish I was a studio audience member watching this show. Yeah. Because when they go in the lava, they just disappear. They're gone.
Did they die?
Where'd they go? Where did they go? What happened? And then, because I know they're doing all computer animation and all that, all the tech, special effects and things. The second thing is, you brought up the Crag, and I was thinking that this was a little kind of like Hidden Temple-ish.
Oh, Legends of the Hidden Temple. That's another good one.
Right? So they're kind of going through the room. And I was even thinking about some of those Nickelodeon shows to put on this competition. But my criteria eliminated most of those type shows. And that's why Floor Lava did not make it. But my kids love to watch this. We have binged this. Me and my kids have watched episodes and episodes.
And I know Cannon has played this in your house.
We have this game. We actually have the game where, have you seen, they made a board game of it? And
we have that too.
Yeah, it's like foam pieces, and you put it all over your furniture and stuff, and you got to jump the foam piece to the next one. Yeah. They play this, which we played as kids, right? We just we threw all the couch cushions everywhere, and you just couldn't go on the ground. Mom's getting upset because you're standing on the coffee table. I mean, Yeah.
Paul, do your kids do Floor is Lava around the house?
Yeah, it's a show that my parents actually turned us on to. Like that's a really good show. They like to watch it. They like to play it more. And this shouldn't quite get like, having to go and to each different color with the board game because there's different colored foams. But she just really enjoys jumping from thing to thing. And whenever I grew up, we played that a lot, and there was lots of broken furniture as a result of it. But no, it's a good pick. I like it.
Yeah. I like it a lot. I like it.
All right. So,
man, halfway through the mountain and still no Crushmore competition Crushmores. So, so let's see. Paul, where are you rolling with us?
All right. So we're up to the link now, and this is probably the most vanilla answer I'm going to give y'all, and it's Survivor.
Okay.
I didn't watch this actually as it came up, or even like the first probably 10 years of this show, however long it's been on, 43 seasons. But when COVID hit and we were all inside and stuck inside, and I had to stay home from work for a couple months, me and my wife were looking for shows, and we just started binge watching Survivor from the beginning, and it's got us hooked now. It's a really fun show to watch. And this one, along with my George, is going to kind of show you like where I like my competition. Like I like to see mental aspects, but I like to see physical aspects as well, and give them a challenge or a course or something that they have to do. And like a lot of people got to overcome a fear or whatever, but like it's really interesting on that front. And then also to watch them have to navigate the social side of it all, where you want to be good, but you don't want to be too good, because then you'll get voted off, and you could be the best player, but you're not going to win because the three weaklings are going to team up and you're out of there, kind of thing. So it's like, it's funny to watch how they have to navigate all that.
Yeah, I love that show. That's one of the OGs, right? The OGs, I feel like
it might be the OG
of these big competition shows. You made a great point, because this is one of those shows that doesn't just rely on physical ability. It really plays to the human element, which is really cool to see kind of play out in front of your eyes, and like strategy and psychology and just everything that's kind of worked into. Then obviously the physical nature of being on an island and have the things that you have to do. So really cool show. Obviously, to be as successful and as long lasting as it is, I mean, there had to be something special. We keep talking about a lot of these shows that lasted 2-3 seasons, that we love them. This one has got the element of success behind it too. So
how many seasons did it go for? Like 15, 20, 18? I don't know.
What, for Survivor?
Yeah.
It's 43 seasons so far.
Yeah, but it was like 2 a year, right?
Yeah, I think it's 2 a year.
Something like that.
Because they film them back to back.
Fun fact, Andy, I'm sure you know this, but in the very first episode, the very first season, there's a guy from Slidell. He actually was a staff member of our church.
Yeah.
And when he went to go on this show, he was told not to act a fool. And he was the first guy kicked off because he was a fool. And then things ensued afterwards. And he's not a part of our staff anymore. It was before I even joined the church.
Then he goes to another
church down the road, and now he's arrested for being a fool because he was the lead for some school. But yeah, Survivor was that was kind of the thing where it was like, oh, there's somebody in Slidell that, and actually I think there's another guy that's been on another show, which might be one of y'all. So I'm not going to bring it up, but it's on my Benjamins. We had another Slidell.
Show is not the OG.
Oh, what's the OG?
My George is actually the OG.
Okay.
Can't tell you.
Which might be the one, maybe. We'll see. But anyways, I love this show. I love Survivor type shows where you're like fending for yourself on a desert island, man versus wild, Survivor Man, those kind of things, and how they incorporated a competition to go with it was just a really cool idea. I love how they had to, you were talking about the social aspect, but more of just the mental game of not having the right nutrition, the right, like you haven't had a bath in so many days, whatever. I mean, like, just like that mental game was really cool about Survivor. It was on one of my Benjamins, but it wasn't even in the top half. I figured somebody would say it, which would eliminate it quickly. It's not one that I watched consistently, but I know how amazing the show is. I have seen several seasons. It's just so much. I haven't watched it consistently anymore, though. But yeah, great show. Good pick. I love it.
Nice. All right. So, Kirk, what's your...
Now, I'm going to go with a Survivor-esque type show. This is kind of my elimination type show. I almost put... This was a Benjamin for me before we even called them Benjamins back in the game show side. I was going to go with this show. But it's a show where you bring in, they brought in a bunch of people. I think it was 16. No, I think it was 16 guys, 16 girls. They all stayed in the house. And my show that I'm going with is Beauty and the Geek. Man, I don't know if you guys have seen this show, but it is... I've watched every episode. I watched every single episode multiple times, probably. This show is so freaking funny. Basically, it's a playoff of Beauty and the Beast, but Beauty and the Geek. Beauty is almost always girls. Geek is almost always guys. They put a beauty and a geek together as a teammate, and they have to compete in these different events. And if they're really smart events, the girls usually don't know them. And then there'll be things like doing massages and like painting nails and all, and the guys have no idea what the heck's going on. And then they have these big elimination things, and they all, and at the very end, the couple that wins, sometimes you lose your couple and move people around. Sometimes it's video games, but they do Survivor type elimination things. So like they'll go out in the yard and they have to, instead of like physical contests, a lot of those, it would be like a lot of mental contests. And anyways, long story short, it is just hilarious. There's a small part of me that go, man, I can relate to some of those geeks, man. And it's just, and then there's actually been some love connections, like an actual beauty fell in love with, and I think they're married still. But it was a great show. They all live in this big mansion. And the couple wins $250,000 to split. There was only a couple seasons. I think there were 5 seasons. Here's a cool thing, a fun note. The theme song was "Opportunities" by Pet Shop Boys. That was really cool as well. So
there you go. Right.
I love this show, Beauty and the Geek. Let me give you my. I'm so slacking this week, but let me give you a look. There it is, Beauty and the Geek.
I never heard of this. What network was? What was this?
I'm pretty sure it was a Spike thing, maybe a USA thing. Spike USA, yeah. It was between this and one other one, and I know you guys aren't going to say it, and it's not even an honorable mention for me. But King of the Nerds, they were very close, very similar shows, but this one brought a lot more hilarity into it.
Here's why I probably, I just didn't watch it, but it aired on the CW and the
CW, yeah, CW. That makes sense.
Like
yeah,
3.
I love this show.
Yeah, okay.
I knew you guys weren't going to have this one. I almost put this back in the day. It was there, and I had to have it. I just had to have it. It's hilarious. It's so funny.
Paul, have you watched this one? Heard of this one?
I've heard of it. I've never watched it. It's just I don't have cable.
I'm laughing right now thinking of some of this stuff.
I'm looking at it, and it's just like I wonder, do you ever are those guys actually geeks, or were they just,
there's always that aspect too. I always wonder those things, but some of these guys are extremely awkward. They're really good actors. They might be really good actors.
That's funny.
There's like some
That's the big deal about all these reality
going on where they just part the hair to the side, and all of a sudden they're geeks.
Yeah, right.
Well, no, now look, these geeks. Let me just say, they always gave like a background for them, and so the girls were always like, like there was Playboy models. There were people that were fitness models. All the girls were all about looks. Like it was all their professions were about looks. The guys were like MIT grads, Harvard grads, computer technology, electronical engineers, rocket scientists. It was all these major things. They all had like crazy jobs that they had to go and most of those guys were going through it to pay their school loans off. It's a great show. I mean, it's not for everybody. I love it. This just shows who I am. I love the show. But there you go.
All right. Well, there you go. Beauty and the Geek. I will have to probably not watch that. Normally we say, yeah, I'll have to check that out. No, I don't think I will. So we'll just leave it there. For my link, we're going to move on to my link. And these ones come as no surprise. If you've watched Rushmore Show enough, I've talked about these two shows before. So there's nothing, breaking news, just like revelation of something. No, my link, my number 2 is Chopped. It's just so good. The show is so good. Food Network, 52 seasons. I mean, they didn't do it for 50 years. So, I mean, they're doing like multiple seasons a year. I looked it up. I'm like, well, how in the world does that even work? But okay, 52 seasons, 635 episodes, plus 39 specials. I mean, they've been doing this thing since 2009. Ted Allen, great host. I think I mentioned this back in game shows. This is one of those shows that is just, you just never know what's going to happen. The whole mystery basket thing is just genius. The concept of the show is great. The fact that they bring 4 top of the line chefs, like no joke, and they know everything. They're trained professionally. They've gone to culinary school, and then they open the basket and they've got like pig brains and, Jello. And it's like, they have no idea what to do with it. And, the funny thing, and I think I actually talked about this when I shared about this show before, watching it, this is the ultimate armchair quarterback, armchair chef show, because the guy will try to make risotto and you're like, what an idiot. Who's going to make risotto in 30 minutes? Like, I know how to do any of that. I can't at all, but it is fun to do that. It's fun to, just to see the kind of things that they do. The one thing that always gets to me is, gosh, I hate when it gets to the panel and they say, if you would have just let this cook a little bit longer. You only gave me 30 minutes. I couldn't cook it longer. How does that even work? No, but the show is great. I love food competition shows. I could have made my top 4 all food shows, and I thought about it. Thought about making that my criteria, but I didn't want to be that guy. I love Chopped. I've watched this for years. In fact, I think I started watching it when it actually first came out in 2009. Watched it with family. It was one of those ones where we can gather around. It's one of the ones too where if you turn on Food Network today, I don't have cable. My parents do. So like at home, if you turn on Food Network, it's either like I talked about last week, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, or Chopped, or probably those two. One of those two is what's going to be playing on a Thursday at 2 p.m. It's just going to be on there. It's like Scrubs on Comedy Central used to be. It's just always on. It's on. And it's a classic. It's a classic show. I know we've talked about it. But Paul, I want to go to you because we talked before. This was almost there for you, and I know that you do like Chopped.
Dude, I love Chopped. This is probably in my top 5 like TV shows of all time to watch. Like, it's just competition-wise, it's such a good show. I mean, whenever they let the audience pick the things, and they give them like freaking what's the that disgusting fruit that no one ever can ever do anything with.
Jackfruit?
No.
Or no, I know which one you're talking. This is the giant one. Anyway.
And it's just like they are so cruel. People are cruel to give these people those ingredients. Like, I would rather be on Fear Factor eating like live worms and have to cook with Dorian. That's the name of
Dorian. That's it. Yeah.
Like,
the other thing that's funny, the other thing that's like, it's like you're on the edge of your seat too when the clock is ticking down and they have to plate and then they forget one of the secret ingredients and you're like, no, and then they do that slow motion, like zoom in, sweats all over their yeah, it's so intense.
Think about being the guy behind the camera, just like, he's just zooming in. Like, he knows this person's
the shame on this one,
and he's just like, exactly. Like, I could not. I would, if I was behind the camera, I'd be like, hey, bro,
you're filming your ingredient right here.
Yeah. No, we've actually picked up some cooking tips just watching the show.
Nice.
And also some of the lingo. Like, my daughters, I'll make them PB&Js, and then they'll just tear it apart. That's a deconstructed PB&J.
That's so good. They have a place here in Mandeville. I know not many people who are watching this, but a place close by us, and maybe they have places around you wherever you're watching from. That's like a kids cooking place. We've gone on field trips and birthday parties too before. And they do a thing where if you can do a chopped birthday party for your kids, it's like a chopped junior. They give them a basket and they cook something. They got help and all that kind of stuff. But it's like a whole bunch of fun. But it's like hundreds of dollars to do it. It's ridiculous.
So that's not for me.
That's no fun.
Wow.
Kirk, what about you in Chopped?
So yeah, I don't. And my next one's coming up. It's not food. I don't have any food on mine. It's just not something that I'm consistently watching. Chopped is a great show. I love everything that you guys talked about. Some of the best things. I mean, you're like pig brains. I mean, like they'll give them like a backbone of a bass and 2 pebbles of rock and
a Jolly Rancher,
cubes of garlic and some pepper. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, look at this, what I made. And it's like this great soup. It's like backbone soup. And I'm like, that looks what? And the guy's like, this is the best backbone soup I've ever had. And I mean, it's fun. But you did mention something just now about like in Slidell with the kids. My favorite cooking shows, my very favorite ones are the kids ones. When whether it's Kids Chopped or Master Chef Kids or whatever they are. And if I would have picked one, it would probably have been those. But Chopped is probably in the upper echelon of cooking competitions for sure for me.
Great. Yeah. So I love it. Chopped. That's where we're at. Now we are going to move to the pinnacle of it all.
The George.
What you got?
All right. So I said Survivor, I think, aired in 2000. So this one is 2 years earlier. It took probably one of the best reality shows, took people from that show and then put them on teams to compete in things. And it's MTV's Real World Road Rules Challenge.
Wow.
Yes.
It's like my all-time favorite show to watch, even though as the seasons have gone on, they've kind of gotten more my girls can't watch it anymore. It's
right.
Too much of like all of that. But TJ Lavin's the host. He's like the perfect host because if you quit or give up, he is not, babying you at all. He's reaming you out. All of the challenges are so like difficult. And I just watch him going, I could do that. No, I couldn't. But I like to pretend that I could. And it all culminates in like a final, and it's like nowadays they're like 2-day, 3-day finals where they just push you to your absolute limits. I remember watching one where they had to like climb this iceberg and I want to say it was like Greenland or somewhere, Iceland. I don't know. It was just like watching them almost die pretty much. But it's just
great TV.
It made for
Wonderful
great TV. And a lot of the cast members, a lot of them are just like a lot of fun to watch. Johnny Bananas is he's a household name in a lot of places now. So
a household.
That's George.
Yeah, I love that.
He's got his own like he got like a show on ABC. like because of how well he's always done on the challenge. Like ABC One Look or something. It's weird.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Thank you for reminding me. I did not even think of this show. Gosh, I was trying to think of older shows, and way to go. That's a good choice. Man, I binge watched the heck out of this stuff, man. Real world. Gosh, that's a tongue twister, ain't it?
Real world road rules.
Real world
road rules.
The sounds of the Rushmore Show.
Rocky Road.
Real
and
world.
Also,
dude,
they got a couple little spin-offs too. They got like the Challenge All-Stars, where it puts real world contestants against like real world athletes. Like Lolo Jones was on there, and
I remember.
So that's cool. And now like Paramount Plus got like the Challenge All-Stars, where like a lot of the OGs of the challenge from back in the day go on there. Mom bods and dad bods, and they're doing their best.
So
Nice.
I liked Road Rules way more than Real World. But when Kirk, on your last pick, when you said they put 16 people in the same house, I said he's going Real World.
That's what I was like. I thought it was going to crush.
and honestly, I knew saying that there was multiple shows like that, but I didn't think of Real World. Like I was thinking of some other ones. So I was like, I was trying to take the scent off, But anyways, Look, I guess it's my turn, huh?
Yep.
So my George, gosh, this is our third episode of television, and I am going to have to go. I'm going to have to almost crush with myself. No, I'm going to crush with myself. Episode 1, not episode 2. Like not episode 2. I'm going to episode 1, and I'm going to go with a show called Bull Run, hosted by Bill Goldberg, right? And so, guys, I don't know if you've seen this show. It was on Spike, and then it kind of jumped from Spike and went to another network. I think Speed Network, maybe. But this show is all based around the idea of the Bull Run, which is kind of like Cannonball Run, if you've watched that movie. And it's basically an 18-day trek across the country with all kinds of different vehicles and cars. Some of them are like Ferraris and Lotuses. One guy's got like a Volkswagen van. I mean, like these guys are driving all across the country. It's 2-man teams. They get to change who the driver is. One guy's kind of running the map. And the idea here is, as long as you're not eliminated, you're not one of the last 2 to cross the finish line at the end. They have to pay attention to the rules of the road, so speed limits and all those things. As long as they don't get caught, and if they get caught, it's a penalty. If they get tickets, they only have a certain amount of money. They have to barter to get gas. They do all kinds of things to get across the country and make it to the end. It was a 3-season show. The first one was on Spike again, and then it went to Speed. But let me give you my old Bill there. One hell of a ride. Yeah, but he hosted it, and man, this show was like, when I watched this show, this is the show that I would have wanted to be on. Like I'm not a big car guy, but like I like watching these guys travel the country with their best friend. Most of the time it was like husband and wife, which those were funny, like letting the wife be the navigator for the that's another thing. They couldn't use any GPS. It had to be all maps. They couldn't use any electronic devices. They had to have actual maps. So they're like trying to figure out how to get a couple dollars to go in the gas station to buy an old school map. And they're trying to figure out where they're going. And it's kind of like Amazing Race, if you will, where they get all these different clues. They don't tell them like, you have to go to Miami, Florida. It's more like, you have to go to this place, at that spot, and figure out how to get there. I love this show. I wish it would have had many, 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 many more seasons. And it was just, at the end, the last 2 have to go on to a challenge, and the challenges are just as awesome. Like they have to learn how to drift or like do certain kind of things with their car. And then the guy who wins the match, that leg of the race, picks any person they want to put in the bottom three. And the last person's eliminated. And again, it's like an 18-day trek. So love this show. I had a feeling it wasn't going to be on anybody's list. It is. I remembered it last second, and I was like, man, when that thing was coming out, I was like, I was on the edge of my seat, waiting for the next part of the track. Who's going to get there? Where they're going to be? This was back in 2005, so it wasn't a whole lot of streaming like it is now. It was a lot different. So there you go. My George, Bill Goldberg, Bull Run.
All right, so you have now, you don't surprise me because you definitely stray away from the GOATs. That's for sure. You pick the ones that mean, and look, that's great. That's the way you should do it. It's about your top four. I have no idea what this show is. I can't add anything other than I know who Bill Goldberg is. Right? Like Speed Network, do they show anything other than drag racing? Like what else is on Speed? A show?
And honestly, it's like the first time I ever watched Speed Network. I was like, I
don't think I ever went to Speed Network. Anyway,
I love this show so much. And wait, let me also tell you, I loved Cannonball Run. Like Cannonball Run as a kid was a staple. I would watch that show. They had the one car that was like Knight Rider, and he was like running past the cops all black and all those things. This is like that show for real. And it was just a fun, and they actually do a bull run. It's just not a competition like reality show. It's a thing that happens like every year. And so I because of the show, I was like, man, I would love to go watch maybe the last leg of them coming in, and there's like a big party. But yeah, it's a really cool show. I love it.
So go back. What was your Rosie again? Just remind me of your Rosie.
Making It.
Okay. The one show that I know out of yours was that.
Making It, Beauty and the Geek, Bull Run, and The Contender.
Yeah, you surprised me. You stumped me on.
Now I have some GOATs on here, but I figured you guys are going to nail those out. And I didn't even really watch them that much, but I did watch all these. I watched all of these.
Paul, what about Speed Network? Were you a subscriber of that channel? What channel was that?
No words. Just this is what you're getting from me.
I'm glad.
So, I mean,
I like Bill Goldberg.
Dude, I think honestly, you don't have to like Speed Network or whatever. You would like. I think you guys would like the show. Just the.
It sounds cool.
I liked Cannonball Run, so
yeah,
I probably would like the show.
Yeah,
it was fun. Anyways, so there you go.
In the comments, okay, if you're watching this and you say, hey, I'm the second person in the world who's ever heard of this show, I want you to reach out to us because I don't want Kirk to feel alone. I want him to have a support group of people who have heard of this show before.
Well, also, I'm a huge wrestling fan. Yeah. So once I heard that Bill Goldberg was doing something, I wanted to go check it out. That's how it probably got me the intrigue. And it was on Spike. So Spike had a time in my life where everything that was on Spike was cool. Everything. And then looking back,
there was a crazy summer.
It was a crazy summer. Yeah. So anyways, there you go.
Okay. There you go. Bull Run with Bill Goldberg.
Well, I know you guys enjoyed my top four, and my George is the George of Georgias. But what you got, man? What you got? We got one more to go on the mountain. One El Presidente.
The George of Georgia.
George of Georgia. George of Georgia. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Number one.
Who's your number one competition? I think I'm winning this competition.
My number one. No, this is the best one. This is by far. We had to Google 3/4 of yours. So no, there's no way. Here's 1993 debut. And it lasted 7 seasons in its original context. And then it's made its way, it traveled long ways, and we picked it up here in America and have made it amazing. I'm talking none other than Iron Chef.
Okay,
Iron
Cobb.
Chef. Look, when he talked about last week, I tried to hold it in and not say a lot about it because I told you guys it would show up in this episode. It would show up later through this month. This is just one of those. This is a fond memory of my family and me sitting at the dinner table, putting on Iron Chef, the Japanese dubbed version, which was hilarious, which is just great. Squeeze on, and the commissioner taking a bite out of the pepper that he would eat, which they changed to the apple in the American edition because it just, for whatever reason, but he would eat that. You had no idea what they were saying. They were all over the place. Cooking competition on steroids. It was in Kitchen Stadium. There's an audience there. Things are going crazy. But again, it lasted in Japan for 7 seasons. There were 295 episodes of that. They had Iron Chefs in Japan that were of different styles of cuisine. So they had a Chinese, they had a French, Italian, and Japanese. They actually had 3 Japanese, they changed throughout the seasons or whatever. And the final Japanese one they had is Masaharu Morimoto, which is just a all-star chef in his own right now. He's got restaurants all over the country. Hey, Disney Springs Morimoto is there too. So he's got a restaurant there. But yeah, it's a great show. It like combines like a live sport feel with cooking. Because it's just they have the secret ingredient. They have to think on their feet. They've got people chopping stuff everywhere. What did Cobb say last week?
Just look at our intro.
But yeah, so just to see the skills that they have, to see all of these top chefs, which is another great show. Top Chef didn't make my list, but to see all of these just chefs that are just A-listers right in the game. And to see what they can do with it. I always liked the episodes when they had the secret ingredient was like live squid, and then they had to kill it and they had to like get it out of the tank and stuff. It was just really cool. And they've took it here. Food Network kind of took it over. It became an American one. Morimoto was a part of that as well. We had other chefs here that lasted for a long time. Then it's now kind of re-upped on Netflix. Netflix has taken it, and there's a new season of that out. Alton Brown is the host, which I love Alton Brown. He's amazing. And we see all of that kind of stuff happen. And Morimoto makes an appearance on the new one on Netflix too. So I love the show. I've talked about it plenty of times. Very dramatic, amazing food that they make. And it's just, and Chopped is one thing where they got to do what they have the best of the best ingredients to use in Iron Chef, and they just put their skills on display. So I love Iron Chef. I know it really doesn't come as a surprise. I could hardly hide my excitement last week when Cobb talked about it. And but I want to get so you said, Paul, you were a Chopped fan. You like Chopped. But you said if there was going to be a cooking show, that would be the only one that would have made your list, although it didn't. What's your thoughts on Iron Chef?
I like the show. It's just more of like a polished and poshed version of Chopped, and Chopped is more my style. It's just, that's pretty much what I can say about it. It's just, it's not for me in the same way that Chopped is.
Yeah, I get it. What about you, Kirk? I know we've talked about it extensively before.
I was just Googling it. I didn't know what it was.
Never heard of it.
No, I'm just playing. Iron Chef, man. I didn't watch the show. I didn't watch this, but I know it. I know the stadium. I know the what Morimoto. I mean, I know all those guys.
P.F. Chang.
And one of the reasons. Here's the thing. What'd you say?
P.F. Chang.
And here's the thing. One of the reasons I didn't watch this show, I just don't relate to this show. This show is not relatable to me. Like these guys are so good, like so great. Like this is like the best chefs in the world type competition. You win Chopped, it's like, yay, you win Chopped. You win freaking Master Chef. You're like you're put up in these rankings, like type thing. Like this is a big deal. I don't even know the type of things that they made in this. Like you said there was squid. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that like there was like a secret ingredient. And I kind of talked about that last week with Kaab, but because this show is, like you said, polished. This show is much more culinary, much more technical, if you will. There is a lot of really big deals going into this. You have to be a really amazing, like you're the top of the game for this show.
Well, here's the thing too. I talked about it last week. When I was that age, when we were watching it as my family, I still had this thought that I wanted to be a chef.
Yeah.
So like you know what I mean? Like I could connect to it, and I was like, not that I could do anything that they were doing, but it was interesting to me because it was like something I was interested in. And I also liked sports. So it always felt like when they have the cameras, the guys that are running down there and they're going from this shot of this guy boiling this thing to this guy chopping this thing up. It's just like, whoa, what's happening? It's like, it's so exciting. There's a million things going on at once. It's overload of culinary magnificence, right? It's fantastic. So I love Iron Chef. Yes, it's the best of the best, but I think any competition should pick the best. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's going to be my top 4. That's going to round it up. So you guys, fantastic Rushmores here.
I think
great time.
I think the fans need to go ahead and go in the comments. And since we're talking about competition, we need to figure out of our 4 Rushmores, there's no crushes. Who's got the best one?
Well, we can eliminate Kirk's. I don't think they know half of them. No, I'm just kidding.
There are some geeks.
There's some people. Yeah. So, but
good show, man. Good show. I'm glad. I like it more when we don't crush, and I don't attempt to not crush. I just really try and think of things that really I love and I like and I want to watch and I want to play or I want to talk about, and it gives me those memories. And these are things that I love watching them. And so it's a great show, but we're not done. You know, we've been talking about some Benjamins from last week, and we're gonna bring on some new Benjamins, some competition Benjamins. Let's get it.
Let's talk about it.
All right, Rushmore Show, here we go. Benjamin time. If you have been around for a while, you know that Benjamin's is the guy we thought maybe should be on the mountain. He's number 5. He's the honorable mention. This is just another way for us to kind of get in some more of those amazing names and things that we love. With that being said, in the football season, we picked up the snake draft, if you will. So we're going to draft our honorable mentions, our Benjamins, and we're going to start off with the first round pick.
Start us off, Paul.
All right. Well, since it is a snake draft and y'all are picking after me, and this might not be my first pick, but I need a little gamesmanship here. I need to figure out what might come back.
Love the strategy.
So we're going to start off with Forged in Fire.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Yeah.
All right.
Good pick, because that was my second round pick. Coming back around.
Okay,
good pick. Forged in Fire, building swords. Awesome. All right. Well, I don't think you guys are going to go with those two. You know what? I'm going to go with a cooking show. I'm going to go with a cooking show right off the bat. Netflix show, American Barbecue Showdown.
That's a good one.
Hey, look, the Champ actually has a restaurant here in Atlanta.
Nice. We're going to have to check that place out next time. All right, so I'm going to get the old back-to-back. I'm going to throw you guys for a little nostalgia journey on this one. I'm going to go with BattleBots.
Oh, another one on my list.
So BattleBots makes my list. And then I'm going to throw in a Netflix cooking show on this one. I thought you were going to go here. I'm glad you didn't. Give me Nailed It. Nailed it.
Dude, you guys are taking all of my list. I'm way down on my list. I love it.
All right, back to you.
Back to me. I'm going to go with, you know what? I'm going to go with it, even though I don't think any of you guys are going to have it. I'm going to go with WWE Tough Enough.
Nice.
I would have gone with it.
It's a stretch pick. You could have had that in the fourth round. You could have definitely had that.
Yeah, I could have, but I think I could have my other one in the fourth round too. So
you can have all of yours.
All right, so I got 2 now, right? Looking here, I'm gonna go with one that I think is just really interesting and cool to watch. That's Face Off.
Nice. Which
I know
was
Kirk
on my
likes
game
this one.
shows. Which
Kirk
was
likes
on my game shows. Really good. Yep. See, that should have been here.
And then the other one is was just really cool to watch. I think my fourth one y'all aren't gonna get, so I'm gonna go with Top Shot.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice. I'm gonna have to look that one up. I don't know that I know that one. All right. So look, my next 2. Gosh, you guys have taken off a lot of them, and so now it really makes it easy. I'm going with Jim Henson's Creature Shop.
Nice. Good one.
Jim Henson's Creature Shop. Building.
Know how I feel about Jim Henson. So good pick. All right. So I get my last 2 right here. I get the pick of the litter now. I get everything, whatever I want here. But I don't think you're going to pick these ones, so it's okay. I'm going to go with Cash Cab. I love.
Whoa!
I always want to go to New York to accidentally get into the Cash Cab.
Dude, I love that guy.
Yeah.
I love that guy. The guy that runs that.
Going. Yeah.
Oh God, I love that guy.
Anyway, so Cash Cab, and let's do it. I talked about this one. You guys didn't take out any of my Benjamins during this round, so that's good. So I kind of get.
Says more about your Benjamins than it does about us.
Well, look, none of his Rushmore could have made my Benjamins because I don't even know what they are. So, but here we go. I actually
just uncultured swine, Joe.
Maybe that's what it is. Okay,
Randy. I bet you Randy says, "I've never heard of any of these shows."
Oh yeah, he's gonna be the I Love Lucy game show is what's gonna have something. We love you, Randy. We really do.
Randy, I'm praying for your back, dude. Praying for your back.
So I'm gonna go with my last one. I talked about it briefly in comparison to another show that I did put in my Rushmore, but it's just so good I can't leave it off of here. Wipeout.
Yeah, it was on my list.
It's so
I only because of criteria. I don't have it. So look, I'm gonna go with this one. I figured nobody was gonna have it. I actually took it off of my top 4. This one, making it, eliminated this one and pushed it down, and I knew you guys weren't gonna pick it. The one reason I didn't put it in there, it was a 1-season hitter quitter, man, and I don't know why they canceled it. But another wrestler, The Rock, The Hero was the show, and it's an amazing premise. Anyways, The Hero. It was on TBS or TNT, I think.
All right, Paul, last Benji.
I thought he was about to take mine whenever he said another wrestler, because the actual greatest show that a wrestler has ever been the host of was American Grit, hosted by John Cena.
Wait, how did you know it was hosted by
we couldn't see it.
Yeah, I've never seen it before. I've never seen him.
Well, but it's in the tagline. They show everyone else, and he's there in the middle. You just don't see him.
He says his name. John Cena. Yeah. Anyway. Great.
Man,
great.
Man,
nice.
so
You've never seen American Grit, Russ? Such a cool show.
Wrestlers are good competition hosts, I guess, huh? Yeah. Actually, yeah. I almost thought about doing another rock show, by the way, and it didn't make it. Another rock show.
American Grit's got it's like a bunch of different military special forces people that have they train their team to go through challenges and crap.
So look, man, it has been a great show competition-wise. At the point of this show, our episode from last week didn't make it, so I need to send a shout out to Kaab. Kaab, you're not allowed to be on our show anymore. You are a walking technical difficulty at the Rushmore Show. Nah, just kidding. Thank you guys for being patient with us. Andy knocked it out, and hopefully you guys love it. It's out there. It wasn't on our normal Monday time frame, so
this one being out on Monday though.
This one you have seen on Monday, and saying thank you so much for being a part of another episode, man. Paul, you rock. You brought the wood, man. You brought the wood.
I knew you would. 3 times.
You knew I would bring the wood.
Yeah, see, you got it. There it
would
is.
I?
Yeah, man, joining the three-timer crew, right? So who's three-time
heavyweight champion.
So Paul is three-timer. Dennis.
I'm the only back-to-back though, so I just gotta, you know.
Oh yeah, that's right. Paul went back-to-back.
Back-to-back jacks, you know. So
which isn't happening to the Braves. So we'll end it with there.
When's the last time the Yankees won anything?
2009.
Okay, all right. I was just checking.
Okay.
Before it gets too heated, we're divided by states here, but we are united in spirit. It's all about competition, guys. It's all about competition.
27 championships.
Okay.
27.
I'm gonna end it here before it gets too hostile.
Hey man, last thing in the comments, we're talking about who's winning the competition. What's your favorite competition shows? And tell us what you thought about this month, and maybe something you want to see next year as a TV episode. Give us some more suggestions. We're looking to you for some more suggestions. Make sure you put the criteria. That's important. Criteria in the bottom.
Well, let me just say this. This is episode 42. 42. That means 10 more episods, and we're at a year, y'all.
And we just broke 200 subs. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family. We still need to hit that 1,000 mark, though. Invite your friends.
Yeah, let them know. It's a great time. It's so much fun, but we're going to end this one like we always do. This is the Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top 4
and nothing more.
Peace.